Hello, and welcome back to the Panoptes Soundworks channel. I'm your host, Julian Shushchik, and today we're going to take another look at the Electron Octatrack, specifically its arranger. The arranger allows us to sequence patterns and manipulate them to create songs. To access the arranger, hold down the function button and press pattern. This will ignite the red arranger LED. From here, go ahead and hit the edit function by holding function and hitting bank. Now, we have options. We can edit, rename, change, chain, clear, save, and reload our arrangements. Go ahead and hit yes. This will bring up the arrangement editor. Notice if you hit play, nothing will happen, and this is because we don't have any rows of commands for our arranger to tell the Octatrack what to do. Now, in each project, you could have up to 8 different arrangements, and each arrangement can have 256 rows of commands. So, as the prompt is recommending right here, I think it's a good idea to go ahead and press function down to insert a row. Bam. I'm going to go ahead and insert several so we could start working with this. So you'll notice right away that we have on the far left, we have rows, which are numbered starting with 000, followed by 001, 002, and etc. The next column is pattern, and this column will allow us to choose what pattern this row will be referencing. Now, we could set it to be 13, we'll set U to be 14, and let's play our arrangement. For the sake of brevity, I'm going to skip over to ln, which stands for length, and I'm going to go ahead and reduce this to 16. That way I'll show proof of concept faster for you. And that's it. We have played through our sequence. Now, this isn't the only thing you could do within the pattern column. You can also, if you notice, if you scroll back and you get to A01 and you scroll to the left once more, you're presented with a new option, Halt. Now, Halt does exactly what you'd think it does. It stops your sequence. I'm going to go ahead and insert one more row just to show that once we get to Halt, the sequence will stop instead of playing A03. And it's done. If you're paying attention, you'll notice we have black arrow indicators on the far left and the far right, indicating the current row that is being played. We also have a horizontal dotted line, which highlights which row we are currently editing. Let's go ahead and see what else we could do with Halt. Now, if you scroll over one to what seems to be under the repetition column, and you scroll back to the left, you enter loop mode. Now, you'll notice that once loop mode pops up, you have a row reference. You could tell it's a row reference because it is three placeholders, so 001, 00. And if you go one more to the right, you could see you have the infinity symbol. And what this means is that we are going to loop infinity times, and once we hit this row, we're going to loop back to row 000. Let's try it out. You could choose it to go to row 1 as well. Now, let's see what else we could do. We could limit the number of times it repeats. Let's say we only want it to repeat once, and we want it to go back to row 0, 0, 0. Nice. There's one more thing we could do here, or two more I should say. Now, if you scroll to the row, if you go back to the row aisle, and you'll notice that if the number is the same as your current row, it switches to halt. If the number is less than your current selected row, it switches to loop because you're looping back to a specific row. And if the number is higher than your current row, it'll say jump. So what I'll do now is I'll enter an extra row here, and I'll make this something like this. So what I want to do is I want to skip to 4. So this time we won't hear the Hindi devotional piece, if it's correct. Nice. There's one last thing we could do here. It's more of a visual cue. It literally doesn't do anything. If you scroll all the way to the left in the pattern column, you will get rem. And if you tap right, you will be able to enter some text. You could, it's a visual cue, and it literally doesn't affect your sequence. It's just there. And it'll skip to the next row immediately. So let's go ahead and just put something in here. Something simple. Yo. Okay. So, as proof of concept, once again, let's try it out. Yo. And it just keeps going. Okay. Now I have another sequence I already prefabricated, which I will show you, and it'll help me demonstrate the rest of our options here. So I'm going to go back by hitting no. I'm going to go to change, and I'm going to switch the sequence by going to go a sequence. And now if I hit enter, you'll notice we have things populated here already. So as you may have guessed, the next row, when you have a pattern, it repeats the pattern so many times. Following this, we have off or offset, which will start your sequence on a specific step of the pattern. Next, we have length, which you could customize for each row, but it defaults to whatever the scale for that sequence is initially. Next, we have scene, and under scene, we can adjust per row which scenes that we have mapped over here by holding A, and you could select one or whatever it may be. And then by holding B, you could change the B side. T stands for tempo. Transpose. With transpose, you could transpose your MIDI sequences up and down. So hit yes, and this will pop up. And from here, you could scroll with the level knob down and up. So if you scroll to the right, you will have positive transposition. If you go to the left, you'll have negative transposition. And you could choose which tracks you are transposing by pressing left and right with your arrow keys. Let's go back by hitting no. Now we have what affects your tempo, and it's under B actually, so that's BPM. So I'll go to a row here that has a BPM. So on this row, I told the machine to play at 132 BPM. If I go down here, I have 138. So there is a speed change in the sequence. And on the far right, we have M for mute. And mute will allow you to mute and unmute audio and MIDI tracks per row. So if I scroll up and down, you'll notice I have different mute settings. I'm not using the MIDI, so there's nothing really going on there at the moment. But that's what that's for. Great. Let's see how it does, and let's hear it. You'll notice that on the first two rows here, I have scene 11, and then I switched to scene 9 for my B side. And I'm switching between an echo effect and filtering out the sequence. So that's just a little heads up about that, and let's give it a listen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening in on the Panoptes Soundworks channel. I hope you find this tutorial useful and you make some really great songs using your Octatrack. Thanks for tuning in. Feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below and share and like if you so please. Cheers.